I'm your host, Peter Komendowski, and welcome to Surviving Bad, where we explore stories of survival, hope, and inspiration. Today, we're talking with Robert and Carlitha, parents that are stepping up in the face of a fentanyl tragedy. Fentanyl took their daughter, Sierra, and they're fighting back to find those responsible, and they're determined to change a system that's failing to stop the rising trend of opioid deaths. Robert and Carlitha, welcome to the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Robert, starting with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you're here today?
Thank you, Peter, for having us. We are here today to kind of honor our daughter in this way. She was taken at 22 years old on August 23rd, and it is our hope to educate the public, not just in Iowa, but worldwide. And I think we've done a good job of that so far. We're also out to hold the dealer accountable. The $50,000 reward is still out there. It's still valid. We are not going to stop. And I think
you have a $50,000 reward. Describe that to us and what that's about.
So Sierra did have some substance abuse issues, and we're transparent about that. We're open about it. We'll discuss it at length with anybody that wants to discuss it. But the illicit manufacturing and distribution of fentanyl is unacceptable. And the people that are dealing it, selling it, distributing it, they need to be held accountable. So we're offering $50,000 to anyone that comes forward with information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible of selling Sierra the fentanyl.
Well, you know, that's an interesting and a positive way to look at it, because you can't stop a problem if you don't make people accountable. Now I'll let you get back to your story, because I just think that's a powerful message.
Again, we want involvement from all levels, from the Biden administration, and I understand that for fiscal 2023, he's going to allocate or try to get through $42.5 billion for National Drug Control Program agencies. I'd really like to know how that money is going to be allocated. We know that that Iowa needs to do a better job. There's just too many deaths already in the state of Iowa. I don't think that my wife has gone a day without having somebody on her Facebook page telling her about some tragic death due to fentanyl. And we were oblivious to it before this happened. You know, we knew about the standard illegal drugs, but fentanyl, illegal fentanyl, and 40% of the fentanyl that is being illegally manufactured kills people. 40%. So it's, you know, you put 10 tablets out on a table and you can pick any number of them, and probably one of them is going to kill you. And that's what happened to our daughter. And
did you have conversations with your daughter about these risks? You said when you found out about it, you were oblivious to it. As a parent, you had no idea fentanyl was out there.
No, because when we found out she took it, she died. She had passed away. We didn't know she was using fentanyl prior to that. We knew about Xanax and we knew about marijuana and drinking, but the fentanyl thing, we had no idea. It was a one-time deal unless she'd been using it prior and we didn't know about it.
This is a tough one. You know, Carlitha, as a mom, it's gotta be just hard to deal with the situation where something literally unknown to you comes and takes your daughter's life.
Well, it's extremely hard. For us, I was aware that Sierra had been using Xanax. She had issues about 3 years ago at a party, and she was sexually assaulted. The young man got 10 years. Iowa parole board paroled him in 7 months. Me and my husband had to rush to Iowa and move her, and her anxiety level was out of the roof. She's been to multiple therapists and psychiatrists in Iowa, seeking assistance and help for her anxiety. So then Sierra started Xanax. because, not everyone, I'm a nurse, a registered nurse. I work in the ER. Not everyone receives the same level of health care, despite you having insurance or not. Sierra needed a lot of service. That overtime was not provided for her, not making excuses for her by any means. We hold her accountable too, because you only take medication that's prescribed to you. Our biggest issue here is me as an ER nurse. I've talked to doctors at the pain clinic. They have never heard of this fentanyl. Typically, we give IV and patches, this powder stuff that they're using and all that. Even as a nurse, I've never given a fentanyl pill. I've put on a patch, come off every 3 days, and we give IV, for acute issues, but never to this level. So when you say, have we ever talked to Sierra? I've talked to her about the Xanax multiple times, but we never knew of the fentanyl at all. So it's hard to talk about something that you know nothing about it. I say for the current administration, I heard the vice president, the borders are so secure. That's absolutely false. We've had more young folks die from this fentanyl than COVID alone. I worked COVID. I worked through the FEMA project. COVID was big money. These kids' lives are big money. So you need to advertise for that just as well. I see all these billboards up, posters throughout the hospital about COVID. Educate the public on what's fentanyl. We need a lot more education, even for us healthcare providers. We're clueless too. So my biggest thing to them is for the current administration, as well as each state. That's why the award is $50,000. It represents the 50 states.
Well, I thank you. That's boy, you're passionate. We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and continue our conversation with Robert and Carlitha. Stay tuned.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Every second, 127 new devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening. Our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and MediaCom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back to Surviving Bad. We're here with Robert and Carlitha Gilliam. We're talking about their dedication to a solution to the opioid epidemic, and specifically the fentanyl problem that's fueling a continued increase in overdose deaths. Robert, man, straight up, you lost a daughter and you're fighting this system. What do you think is wrong with this country? Where is this problem?
I think it all starts with the government. I mean, we have to be bipartisan in this, and we have to get the job done. We're taking too long, dragging our feet, putting too many things in the way of addressing this issue. You want to legalize drugs, but you don't want to combat drugs. It doesn't make any sense. So you can legalize marijuana in all these states, but fentanyl, you just let it go. And then you act like the borders are safe and secure, and it's not. And then you got China and Mexico shipping the stuff directly to people that want the drugs. So you need to up your postal police, or I'm not sure what they're called. And quite frankly, this is a worldwide problem. This isn't a Black problem. It's not a white problem. It's not a rich problem. It's not a poor problem. It is a problem. And it goes to the middle class, to the rich, to the poor. And I believe that a lot of people don't want to stand up and fight because well, my son or daughter had a drug addiction or drug substance abuse issue, so that's what happens. No, a lot of this can be prevented. I mean, where did this fentanyl stuff come from anyway? I mean, it's if it killed 54,000 in 2020, I can only imagine it killed a whole lot more in 21 and now in 22. They were saying 150 deaths a day. Now it's probably more like 400 or 500 a day, and it's just not getting reported accurately. And I hold the Biden administration accountable, but I also hold, the Kim Reynolds and the Iowa legislation accountable too. They have to stand up. If we can put up $50,000, then they can put up some money too. And whether it's their own or they allocate it and not misallocate it, then I want to see it done. I want to see some action. If we can take action and put ourselves in harm's way of putting $50,000 for catching a drug dealer, then they can surely do something more than what they're doing.
Now, that's a fascinating thing to me, because it would seem to me that if you have fentanyl coming into the community and dealers are distributing it, that there should be a focused effort. Did you talk to law enforcement and other agencies in the state to find out why it isn't that strong an effort?
I don't know, but I do look at the website every day, and I don't see a lot of people getting arrested for dealing drugs at all. It's minimal at best. Don't take my word for it. Go look for yourself. Just go to the Polk County website where they have people in the Polk County jail, and I'm telling you, you see everything else but people distributing drugs.
Now, when this person is caught, presuming they're caught, what would you like to see happen?
I want them to not be charged at the state level. I want them to be charged at the federal level, because they'll do 80% of the time. And I want them to be prosecuted more or less under a murder charge, because you knew what you were dealing. You knew that 40% of those pills were lethal. So that would be like me going in with a revolver with three in the chamber and just start shooting. And maybe nobody gets hurt, but then the other 40% do. It's not acceptable. They have to charge these guys at the federal level. They have to make examples. And more than that, they have to get this stuff out of here. What was it, K2 or something that was like 10, 15 years ago that they were selling out of the stores? I don't see that happening anymore. How come they can't do the same thing? Or at least make the punishment bad enough that people will think twice before they sell it.
Those are fantastic points. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to continue to talk to Robert and Carlitha, about their journey, how it started, where it's taken them, and some of the realizations that have just surprised them since this began. See you all after the break. You don't want to miss this.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Every second, 127 new devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening, our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and MediaCom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back to Surviving Bad. I'm your host, Peter Komendowski, and we're talking with Robert and Carlitha about the legacy they are building after their daughter Sierra's death from fentanyl poisoning. Carlitha, you're powerfully in support of more education. Talk about what you've learned in this process over the last months and why you feel education is going to be so important in this case.
Well, in my case, I'm a registered nurse. So education is a big part of my job, educating my patients, making sure I myself is educated as well. I see that more education needs to be provided in regards to this fentanyl. If you come into the emergency room, ask you, do you feel safe at home? But I'm not going to ask you, is someone using fentanyl in your house? Do you have a problem with using fentanyl? Do you have a drug problem in general? Do you need assistance? There's no pamphlets to give out. Even a pamphlet change someone's viewpoint or make someone call into a national 800 number and say, hey, I need some help. Or a little kid to say, hey, my dad or my mom has fentanyl in the bathroom. It looks like candy. I may have thought of taking some of that. All the education need to be provided, and it needs to be young. I've had people send me information even about a baby that's 10 months old, or even someone that's 11 years old taking it to the school. My grandkids that we're raising would think that that was candy and they would eat it. Now they're packaging it such as it looks like Skittles or gummy bears. Education has to be provided. These kids are our future. I'm not going to be working forever. Eventually, these group of kids are going to start working, and these are the kids that you want working and not being educated properly, maybe using on the side and them coming into work. No, let's fix this now. They always say that our kids are our future. Well, they are. But what future are we putting into them in regards to not using? Them being assertive and learning to say no. Them also advocating for themselves and others, going to a teacher, getting some assistance, or going to their manager at work. They've claimed that this range from 16 to 25 is our biggest deaths that's going on, more than even COVID. But no, there's younger kids that's being affected by this. Younger kids living in the house, cleaning up drug labs and dying from it and different things like that. Police officers are getting sick just by touching it. We need information out. I want to see an ad. I challenge Facebook. You can do all kind of stuff on Facebook. Date, look at all the guns people throwing up, money. I heard that people are even buying illicit drugs through Facebook, even selling sex on Facebook, but there's no education on Facebook about this fentanyl. Run some ads on that too. These kids are utilizing all of your systems, yet you're not providing any feedback to them, no education on the warning of this epidemic that's taking lives. Let's do something about this.
You know, Robert, I got a question for you. We were talking on the break. You know, we have an increasing death rate and overdose rate from opioids. But when we stop doctors prescribing, the number of doctors prescribing opioids is going down, but the death rate's going up because fentanyl, illegal fentanyl, is getting into the market. Mm-hmm. This has got to be frustrating to you, where the problem is just right in your face like that.
Absolutely, Peter. When you sanction the doctors and put such high restrictions on what they can prescribe and how much they can prescribe, and you just open the door to the drug dealers to manufacture their own, because the addict has to get the drugs from somewhere, and the people that are distributing this or manufacturing this, they are not chemists or pharmacists, so they're just putting in fentanyl into a pill press and pressing it, making it look like the real deal, and it's not. And that's the other problem that we didn't really talk about. But how are these people getting pill presses? The dark web? Why? You know, we have so much government interaction on what we choose to, but then when things happen, then they don't want to look at it. And like, how do you buy a pill press? How is that possible? Why do we allow that? And
you know, I have a question for you, because we talk about how many deaths and how little we see government involved in fighting this, but yet the scale of things and sort of like the tools, like you talked about pill presses, it sounds as much like domestic terrorism as anything. And the death rate is higher than any other form of terrorism.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, you know, to me, we're turning a blind eye to it. You know, the time is now to act. The government has got to get together, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter to me, but you got to do something. And just saying no isn't the answer. You know, we have to take action. Parents have to stand up. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck, but you got to do it. Government officials, stop doing all the red tape stuff. Sit down as people in a room and get something done. I mean, by 2024, you'll kill 1 million people or more.
All right, we got to take a short break, and we're going to ask you both to come back and share some final comments, insights, and inspiration. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Today, more than ever, you need fast, reliable internet. At MediaCom, we want you to know you can count on us. Our fiber-powered 100% gigabit technology network was built for the future. We have enormous capacity and power and 99.99% network reliability. So even though these are uncertain times, we're prepared, and you can be certain we'll keep your world connected. Every second, 127 new devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening, our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and MediaCom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back. Today on Surviving Bad, we're talking about the tragic consequences and lack of success in stopping the increase of overdose deaths and Robert and Carlita's war against fentanyl. Let's see what insights, advice, and inspiration they have to share with us. You know, you guys are so brave being here because it's, easy for people sitting in chairs in government and administrative offices to look at this, but to be the parents of a child been taken away because of this problem. I mean, in my opinion, that's the authority on these issues. You are the people need to listen to. Carlita, what advice would you give to other parents? What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them to notice things before this happened. I was deployed for almost 2 years fighting COVID. So I've only been home a little bit. I've only seen my daughter twice in that time in the last year. But had I known about this fentanyl, I would have been talking to her. Sierra, make sure you don't mess with anything like that. You cannot check your pills online. They're pressed with a whole nother number that may match up with the online drug search for that particular medication. You just cannot trust anything that's not prescribed by a pharmacist. That you did not get from Walmart, CVS, or from the hospital, don't be taking it. And I'd also tell parents, pay attention. My daughter was 22, but you got young kids younger than her. Pay attention to what rap music they listening to, because they're also soliciting the sale and usage of fentanyl, and I'm appalled at that. They also need to pay attention to what advertisements their kids are watching at on TikTok and things like that. I didn't know so much of this was out there. You have to stay involved. You have to constantly check your kids' phones, check their friends. Who is your kid hanging out with? Who are their parents? What is their lifestyle? All of that plays a big part. I would just tell parents to be vigilant. Pay attention. Always talk to your kids and talk to your kids' kids, because sometimes their parents are not talking to them. We have to get the word out. This has to end. We can't keep burying kids and adults from this, something that's preventable. I want the administration to do their job. Secure your borders, secure your mail services, educate the public, all of us, especially us healthcare professionals and the schools, counselors, and nurses. Educate us. We know nothing.
Man, those are powerful points, and I hope they resonate well with our listeners. Robert, what about you?
I would just say from especially a dad's point of view, because we're like the fun-loving people most of the time, be a little nosier. Check on your kids more often. Just, you might anger them, you might upset them, but you have to get them to understand that this is serious. Like one pill and you're gone. Look for signs. Are they nodding off? Are they acting bizarre? Don't just take their word that, oh, I'm tired or this or that. You know, be diligent, because you can't bring them back once you lose them. That's the message. Love your kids, be involved in their lives, but be strict when questioning them if you have a suspicion, and then get them some help. If your significant other, the mother of your child, or whatever it is, if you got to do a court order, do it, because at least you'll still have them around. That's the message I want to get.
Also, one other thing, please go and get you some Narcan. It's free. Everyone can get it. Order some for your home. Keep it on your person. There is a $60 copay for some, but if you go to GoodRx, they do have coupons that's available. But get you some Narcan and keep that on you. You never know. Help save a life. It doesn't even have to be your own family members. But be an advocate out here. We all need to step up.
Well, I appreciate you stepping up in the face of what you've said, and probably true to some extent, doing the work that governance should be doing to put out the safety precautions we need to keep fentanyl out of our kids' lives. Thank you all for watching us today. Check out our website at healthyiowa.org, and keep your eye on Mediacom MC22 for our next episode of Surviving Bad, where we explore stories of survival, hope, and inspiration. On Mediacom MC22, your local programming leader.
Thank you.